As the first female on the team, it's proper that we talk about Scarlett first. Before we do, let me thank you for watching JLS Comics, whether you're returning or it's your first time here. Don't forget to subscribe, share this with your friends, and all that good stuff. So let's jump right into our video. Shana O'Hara, with the codename Scarlett, was named after the lead character of Margaret Mitchell's 1936 novel Gone with the Wind, Scarlett O'Hara. She was played by Rachel Nichols in 2009's The Rise of Cobra live action. With an actress unannounced as of this recording, she could very well be a part of the upcoming Snake Eyes film. And why do I say that? Well, it'll make sense once we tell her story. Scarlett debuted all the way back in 1982 as one of the original of the 3.75-inch line, the famous straight arm versions. In 1993, her figure was updated and packaged as part of the Ninja Force line, and in 2002, she came in a 2-pack with Zartan for the G.I. Joe vs. Cobra line. She was also one of the characters affected by the trademark expirations, and so for a time, she was changed to Asian Scarlett. The counterintelligence expert got a big ol' snowsuit for the 25th anniversary release, and her Palatoy Z-Force counterpart, Hedda Pulver, is named Coral. She's a Scarlett repaint, and she also came with this cool little rapid-fire motorcycle. But Shana grew up in Atlanta, Georgia to a family heavily involved in martial arts training. In fact, her dad owned a dojo. Her Action Force counterpart grew up in Bruges, Belgium. It was Scarlett in a house with 4 boys, and it's this that helps her build a strong foundation that would help her in her predominantly male military career. Her brothers and her father were all martial arts instructors, and starting at age 9, Shana began her training as well, and it took her just 6 years to earn her black belt. And eventually Shana went off to college, and she graduated summa cum laude from 2 Ivy League colleges, inspired by her martial arts training, which seeks balance of body and mind. And with her mind properly exercised, Shana decided to join the United States Army. She graduated infantry and ranger school and trained with other branches as well, even participating in an exchange program with Australia's SASR. She's proficient with a variety of sidearms and long rifles, her favorite being the XK1 Crossbow, which she sometimes wields akimbo and with a variety of warheads. The stars on her gloves are shuriken throwing stars. Scarlett became even more proficient with hand-to-hand combat and would frequently enter Taekwondo tournaments over the years, and she's just as comfortable in the pilot seat or Wizzo seat of an XP-14F Sky Striker as she is in the co-pilot gunner seat of an XH-1 Dragonfly. She excelled in her intelligence and counterintelligence, and it was this and her field op success that put her on the radar of Clayton Abernathy, Hawk. Scarlett's an E5 rank sergeant, and she was later promoted to an E6, although in Renegade she's bumped from an NCO to a commissioned 2nd LT. Her E5, E6 ranks make her one of the highest ranked enlisted Joes and the highest ranked female. She's also been in a position of leadership from the beginning with the team, and as an example, Hawk put her in charge of Alpha Team in issue 10. Between this, her experience in a house full of boys, and her unique perspective as a female, it makes her one of the guys. She's just as likely to trade rounds with Cobra as she is trading jabs with her teammates, especially Clutch. She's tough as nails and yet maintains a sensitive side. She saved bullets for her own head to avoid capture, and in the next issue, she'll shed a tear over a missing Snake Eyes. Oh, and she hates being called Babe. In Shana's early duties with the team, she was tasked with running candidates through hand-to-hand combat refresher training, and she was running one such course when she first laid eyes upon the mysterious Snake Eyes, a man who let her win, and a man who she would become very close with over the years. Until CoverGirl came along, Scarlett was the only female Joe on the team, and so she played heavily into nearly every issue that Larry Hama wrote. She's right on the cover of issue 1 and part of the Iwo Jima homage on the splash page. Her dossier was pulled by the generals for the mission to rescue Dr. Burkhart, and with her and her throwing stars that enabled the Doctor's rescue from the clutches of Cobra Commander. 10 issues later, in a flying penthouse, Ticker captured Scarlett to the town of Springfield, where she met Billy Kessler for the first time. She didn't know where they were because she was drugged by Dr. Venom going in, and when they escaped in the flying penthouse, yep, you heard that right, it was in the middle of a nasty storm. And over the nearest city, they haloed out, and she landed on the Incredible Hulk. Yes, you heard that right too. Here's a picture to prove it. In issue 21, the famous Silent issue, we get to see how tough she is as Storm Shadow has her captured at Silent Castle, and Snake Eyes comes in to rescue her. And a few issues later, we learn how intertwined her story is with Snake Eyes. On an early mission, the helo that the Joes were in blew a rotor motor, and they were going down, but Scarlett's gear got stuck, and so she was trapped. The others bailed, but Snake Eyes stayed to free her, and that's when a window exploded on his face, severely damaging its entire face and severing his vocal cords, rendering him unable to speak for the rest of his life. Later, she was on a mission in Europe to rescue some Joes that were in a Soviet prison prison in the country of Barovia. They went undercover as part of a circus, and it was this mission that took her and them off the table during the civil war that erupted between Cobra Commander and Serpentor on Cobra Island. We wouldn't see her again until issue 88, where we see the team cruising around in the European countryside in, of all things, a Camaro. And then in issue 91, we see her with Jinx, Storm Shadow, and Snake Eyes holed up high up in the high Sierras, ready for a showdown throwdown with the Red Ninjas. After this, Snake Eyes decided to go have surgery in Switzerland. He wanted to repair his face. It was all fine until the Baroness found out. You see, the Baroness blamed Snake Eyes for the death of her brother during a humanitarian mission to Saigon during Vietnam. And as payback, the Baroness shot Scarlett in the head, who, of course, survived, but she was in a coma for quite some time. Shortly before the team was decommissioned in 94, in the first volume of Comics Wound Down publication, Scarlett was on a secret assignment to pretend to defect to Cobra, and she did, induction ceremony and all. This was a follow-up to the Battle of Benzine, where a sneak peek and most of Battle Force 2000 was killed. At one point, Scarlett and Snake Eyes wanted to take their casual relationship to official and get married, so they were to be wed, but Snake Eyes fell into a deep depression when Ophelia was killed, so he decided not to show up at the wedding. She was really angry at Snake Eyes. They would continue to work together with the teams, but she wouldn't forgive him for quite some time. Eventually, she did enough to schedule another wedding, which also fell through. And this is her primary interest, although some continuity has her with both Snake Eyes and Duke. Sometimes it's interchangeable, but I see her with Snake Eyes. Issue 214 is when Sean Collins becomes the new Snake Eyes, and Scarlett presents him with the Lesser Light, which is an Onihashi blade. While Sean's given a new loadout and gear, Scarlett dons her own updated look, and a couple issues later, it's also around this time, issue 255 actually, that Scarlett goes to Harlem to see the original Snake Eyes latex mask maker so she can present Sean with one. And Sean is important to her, just so you understand the significance. Sean is the son of this Cobra named Fred Broca, and Sean was later adopted by Wade Collins, who was with Snake Eyes, Stalker, and Storm Shadow in their LRRP unit in Vietnam. So there's that connectivity there, and she continues to serve a primary role on the active duty roster to this day. We do get to see her in the animated show, which shows some funny misspellings on her dossier readout in the episode where her father is captured. Scarlett first appeared in the Mass Device miniseries, voiced by BJ Ward, where Snake Eyes and Scarlett are on this team that heads up to the Arctic and gives us the Spock Kirk moment between the two lovers. And then, by the way, we did get another Star Trek moment in the Pyramid of Darkness with those fatal fluffies up on the space station. She's one of the characters whose comic book counterparts reflect her animated self. She's tough yet charming, she's a leader and a lover, and like her file card says, Scarlett is confident and resistant. It's remarkable that a person so deadly can still retain a sense of humor. And Larry Hama did say he based her on his wife, but not the sniper training or the crossbow skills or her personality. And for the show, Scarlett did feature in a swimming, water skiing, beach, bikini, PSA type clip. In Renegades, Scarlett's orange attire is actually a ballistic vest instead of that normal tank top over a one-piece look that she normally goes for. She's had some subtle changes based on the medium or the publisher, but the heart of what makes her such a great character has always remained consistent. In the days of Sarah Connor, Ellen Ripley, and Princess Leia, there was also Scarlett. She's a role model that both boys and girls are proud to collect. And that's it for this one, my friends. As always, let's continue the conversation down in the comments below. I do look forward to reading your comments, corrections, questions, and suggestions. Don't forget to subscribe and share this with all of your friends. I'm Jesse, this is JLS Comics, and I'll see you soon.